I'm in a pretty good mood as I'm making lunch on a nice, comfortable summer day. I'm in the kitchen dealing with some meat products while my dog is laying nearby, waiting for me to accidentally drop some of this meat on the floor. There's a nice cool breeze coming through all the windows. I have the side door open that nobody uses, but it does allow some extra wind and fresh air to get in, and it's really relaxing. Out of the blue, Bingo starts barking ferociously, not a little bit, ferocious barking. This is the kind of barking she does when somebody pulls up in the driveway, for example. But I check, there's nobody in our driveway. There's no dogs walking by. There's nobody even close to come by. There's no FedEx delivery person. So I'm trying my best to get her to calm down, and it's not working. I have a series of things that I try to get my dog to calm down, and it never works, or it doesn't work in this case anyways. So I try calmly one more time. Bingo, quiet. Doesn't work. Actually had the reverse effect. She got even more loud and even more fast and more ferocious. And so I snapped. I lost it. I yelled at her. I yelled at her with the kind of voice that if you heard it in public, you would have said, well, what's the story with this guy? I snapped and I lost it. And that's when I looked up and I saw my 85-year-old neighbor at the side door with a look on his face that was equal parts fear and judgment. That's what Bingo was barking at. And I lost it, and he watched me lose it. My inability to stay calm is very, very embarrassing. But there are ways we can get around these potentially embarrassing situations with appropriately choosing the response that's most helpful in that situation. And mindfulness helps with that. Find out more right after this. Hey, it's Derek Hagan, a financial therapist, here with another Money Health presentation. We're going to talk about money and mindfulness and how we can use those to stay calm and make appropriate responses. So what happened to me was a complete mindless response. I did not choose my reaction. Would it have helped if I knew he was there, my neighbor? Probably. But what he really would have done was help me become more mindful. If I knew he was there, I would have chosen a more mindful response. As you can see, as we go from mindless to mindful, our ability to have a calm response increases. And the more mindful we are, the more we can stay calm. And the more calm we are, the more likely we are to make an appropriate response. Choose the right response for the situation. And so mindfulness, I call it the key that unlocks your mind. It's like going to the gym, helps your physical muscles. Meditation is the exercise that helps you become more mindful. It helps you be more aware of what's going on in the present moment. Now, speaking of definitions, let's talk about what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is not meditation. Meditation is practice for your mind, practice in becoming more mindful. So what does mindfulness mean? It means being in the present and without judging. Being in the present without judging. What does that mean? It means paying attention to my experience right now. It's always right now. So let's pay attention to the current stream of experience. Okay, and if we stopped there, then we would just simply call it concentration, because that's the same thing. So we have to add on another layer right here that says without wishing it was different and without judging it. Can you simply be with what is? So what is that? That actually means right now, this is how it is. Or there's the old stereotype, it is what it is. And it's stereotype for a reason, because it's always right now, and right now, this is how it is. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Now let's talk about what mindfulness isn't. It's not simply just a big executive stress ball. It's not intended to make you feel calm or make you feel anything. It's just intended to help you feel how you feel and then choose what you want to do in the future. It's also not religious. You don't have to be, there's no religious undertones to mindfulness. I mean, it started You got to start in a couple different religious backgrounds, but you don't have to use it as part of religion. It's also not a way to change your thoughts or eliminate negative thoughts. In fact, if negative thoughts come into your experience, that's part of your mindfulness, being aware of those negative thoughts. Right? And it's also not a way to stop thinking about the future. Being present doesn't mean that you don't care about the future. You can care about the future in the present moment without being absorbed by thoughts of the future. You don't have to be anxious about the future. And so effectively, it grows your awareness and it sharpens your attention. What does that mean? Awareness, that's a big circle there. Awareness is everything that you could notice. It's big and it's fuzzy. Attention is like a spotlight. Where do you shine your spotlight of attention? Okay, so with mindfulness, you increase your awareness. That is, you increase the things that you can pay attention to. And that spotlight of attention gets more practice. It gets more sharp. It gets more focused. And as you work on this mindfulness, the more mindful you become, the more chance you'll have of getting an ideal outcome. So when we think about having money conversations, money is a stressful thing for a lot of us to talk about. And if we become emotionally flooded, we're likely to reply mindlessly. We're likely to apply like children. There's a lot of reasons for that because our adult brain is effectively kicked offline. So if we want to have a productive financial conversation, we have to be more mindful of that conversation. What about shopping? It's all too easy to shop over here mindlessly. If you use any apps or any online shopping, you probably linked your credit card or your debit card up years ago, at least months ago. So now you log in or you start tapping away and clicking away. You don't even know that you made a transaction. Mindless, not an ideal outcome. So if you can be more mindful, if you can be more aware, long gone are the days when you had to write a check. You had to write the amount out several times. Long gone is when you had to fork over cash. Right now we just go in, we tap a card and we don't get a receipt. We have no idea that we're spending. Being more mindful of our spending gives us better outcomes. And that's it, shopping in general. What about retail therapy? Retail therapy is when people go and shop to get the dopamine high from finding a good deal or finding some new gizmo, which could be clothes or gadgets or whatever, as a way to reduce stress or as a way to avoid some emotions. Retail therapy, for most people, feels bad when we're done. Now, if we can be more mindful that what we're about to do is retail therapy, we can snap out of it. We can make a better response. We can have a better outcome. And it's all about understanding the story we're telling ourselves. And if you've followed me for any time, you've seen the ABC, you got the adverse event, you got the belief, and you got the consequence. Adverse event is something happens. Consequence, that could be an emotional or a behavioral consequence. So I felt something or I did something. And most people think it goes right from A to C. That's what it feels like. Something happened and I did something. Something happened and I felt something. But in fact, there's that belief. There's that belief in the middle of there. And that belief, when we're talking about money, is a money script. Being able to pause and say, why? What just happened? I felt something or I did something. What just happened? And being more mindful helps you understand what that adverse event was. Oh, that's the trigger that just happened. But then you can ask yourself another question that says, well, why did that trigger cause this thing to happen or this feeling to happen? What story am I telling myself? And when you do that, you can challenge that automatic thoughts because our automatic thoughts are almost always negative. We have a negativity bias. So being more mindful helps us slow down our thinking process so we can understand what's going on. Not everything you think is truth. So our beliefs need to be challenged so that we can make a response instead of a reaction. Because when something happens, impulse and then action, stimulus and response. When something happens, and we react too quickly, we're reacting. If we're not mindful, we're reacting to everything that life throws our way. We're just going around putting out fires. Reaction, reaction, reaction. Right? But if something happens and we grow the space between stimulus and response, we can choose the more appropriate response. We can choose to respond in the most appropriate way. And again, this response might still be anger. It might still be sadness. The appropriate times when we do those are probably less than we're doing now. But none of what I'm saying is to say you should never be angry or you should never be sad. There are times when that's going to be the appropriate response, but we need to know it. We need to do that intentionally. Okay. Slow down your response. Mindfulness helps you choose the appropriate response. It helps you remain calm. It's certainly worth trying. You only have one life. Live intentionally.